Mayor. Good evening. All right.
Sorry, we were in the other room.
It is 7 o'clock, Terry?
Need to excuse Jason.
Oh, okay. Thank you for that.
I'll make a motion to excuse Jason Kyle from the meeting tonight.
I second.
Thank you.
Lawson.
Aye.
Workman.
Aye.
Miller.
Aye.
Woodward.
Aye.
Steve Workman.
Here,
Dennis Miller.
Here.
Angela Woodward.
Here.
Dan Lawson.
Here.
please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Good evening and welcome everyone to the April 15th meeting of the Ashland City Council. To our viewers at home, thank you for joining us. Members of our audience, members of council, Mayor Miller,
Yes.
welcome all. First item on the agenda this evening will be the approval of the minutes from the April 1st meeting. If there are no additions, deletions, or corrections to those minutes, I'll ask for a motion to approve as submitted.
So moved.
Second.
Thank you.
Lawson.
Aye.
Workman.
Aye.
Miller.
Aye.
Woodward.
Aye.
Minutes will stand approved. First ordinance this evening will be an ordinance establishing the US 250 Pedestrian Facilities Capital Improvements Project Fund 492 for the express purpose of depositing and expending monies to install a new pedestrian walkway along US 250 East and declaring an emergency.
Move for non-reading in full.
Second.
Thank you.
Lawson.
Aye.
Workman.
Aye.
Miller.
Aye.
Woodward.
Aye.
Good evening.
Evening, Larry.
The ordinance you have before you this evening creates the fund mechanism so that we can account for the grant monies that the city will take in to build this facility. And it will go and it's just a recording device, but in order to do that, why we have to establish this fund first within our accounting records.
Very good.
And then this, of course, involves the pedestrian pathway out on the busy US 250 corridor. So we'll be getting money from a number of different sources because we've got a grant, but then we also got a capital budget earmark through our state representatives. So we're glad that the project's going to be funded with outside help.
All right.
And of a $2 million project, our only amount is $130,000.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Phenomenal.
It is a
Well,
beautiful
but-
thing.
Definitely benefit all citizens, for sure.
Oh, my gosh, yes.
So if there's no further discussion, I'll ask for a motion to approve on the first reading.
So moved.
Second.
Thank you.
Workman.
Aye.
Miller.
Aye.
Woodward.
Aye.
Lawson.
Aye.
I'll move to suspend the rules for 3 separate readings, 3 separate days. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you.
Miller.
Aye.
Woodward.
Aye.
Lawson.
Aye.
Workman.
Aye. Motion to approve the ordinance?
Move to approve.
Second.
Thank you.
Woodward.
Aye.
Lawson.
Aye.
Workman.
Aye.
Miller.
Aye.
Ordinance 32-25.
And then we have an ordinance authorizing the issuing of a then and now certificate for the following attached expenditures for the city of Ashland, Ohio, and declaring an emergency.
Move for non-reading in full.
Second.
Thank you.
Workman.
Aye.
Miller.
Aye.
Woodward.
Aye.
Lawson.
Aye.
This ordinance is requirement of your approval or seeks your approval for these expenditures. I believe the divisions, both the police and the fire division, were anticipating these expenses. Unfortunately, they were not able to obtain a purchase order before the invoice date.
Questions, comments, concerns? Hearing none, is there a motion to approve on the first reading?
So moved.
Second.
Thank you.
Miller.
Aye.
Woodward.
Aye.
Lawson.
Aye.
Workman.
Aye. Again, I'll move to suspend the rules for 3 separate readings, 3 separate days.
Second.
Thank you.
Woodward.
Aye.
Lawson.
Aye.
Workman.
Aye.
Miller.
Aye.
Motion to approve the ordinance?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you.
Lawson,
Aye.
Workman,
Aye.
Miller,
Aye.
Woodward.
Aye.
Ordinance 33-25.
Then we have an ordinance authorizing certain land belonging to the city of Ashland, Ohio, to be sold through the Community Improvement Corporation and declaring an emergency.
Move for non-reading in full.
Second.
Thank you.
Miller,
Aye.
Woodward,
Aye.
Lawson,
Aye.
Workman.
Aye.
All right, this particular ordinance is a indicator that we are getting ready to close on the pump house properties. We actually first took action back in 2022. That is when we first entered into a purchase agreement with Vision Development to purchase from the city all of the various parcels around 4th Street, what we refer to as the pump house district. Over the last 2 years, there have been a number of developments throughout that time, everything from environmental issues that had to be addressed, soil borings that had to be done. If you recall, at one point, we discovered there were tanks on one of the parcels that the city was planning to sell, and so we had those removed. There's just been a number of little cleanup items like that. Well, back in March, on March 7th, I actually signed a new updated agreement, which is not unusual. Often I sign the agreement that we negotiate, and then I bring it to the council for final approval. In fact, that's usually one of the contingencies, council's approval. Well, the reason we're bringing it to you tonight and didn't bring it to you sooner is because I wanted to wait until we pretty much knew for certain it wouldn't have to change again. And tonight, we are fairly confident that this would be the final purchase agreement for the pump house properties. If you want to know where the changes are best represented, it would be under contingencies, item number 3. And basically, you will see some of the contingencies. Some of these were already in the original agreement, but others have been added to satisfy the project financers. So basically, for those that are watching that don't have the agreement in front of them, items that are in this section now are things like the title contingency provided for in Section 5, the approval of this agreement by the Council of the City of Ashland, the approval of this agreement by the Community Improvement Corporation of Ashland. In case folks don't know, that's the CIC, and that is the vehicle that we, through the authority laid out in the Ohio Revised Code, are able to sell this for an economic development project. That's in most every one of our agreements. These are some of the new items. Confirmation that a no further action letter from the Department of Commerce, Division of State Fire Marshal, has been received. We did receive it. We received it on February 4th, and that means just what you would think it would mean, that there's no further environmental cleanup needed at that site before someone could build housing at that location. Next contingency shown here is that the railroad spur and tracks that are currently located on the property will be removed before they take ownership. And for those that don't know, that work is underway now. The work is not actually taking place yet on the actual site, but nearby behind National Latex, because they're adjusting the tracks in that area to prepare for the removal on the actual pump house site. So that is underway. Of course, it also says that this whole agreement is contingent on zoning and other government approvals being issued by the city once the project design is finalized. It also, since we first entered into agreement, as you know, we got a grant from the state of Ohio to use for the brownfield redevelopment. That grant is $886,000. We've already utilized almost 450 of that on some of those other expenses that I've mentioned. Things like removing the tanks, doing the final soil borings, and all that sort of thing that we've been doing over the last 2 years. The remaining $400,000 of that $886,000 will be used for what they call vapor barriers that will be installed at certain locations around the site. And that is yet to be installed, but that is in the works. And then, I believe that's it. So basically, it's the same purchase price, $400,000 for those various parcels over there in the pump house district. And if tonight the council chooses to move forward, I would expect you're going to see a closing here very soon, because they are actually hoping to start, I believe, within 4 weeks. So, now, every time frame I've ever given on anything has never panned out the way I was told, but we'll hope this one sticks.
We weren't gonna say anything.
Yes, exactly. We'll hope this one sticks.
Subject to.
Yes, exactly.
Do you recall how many acres? this-
You know what, I don't off the top of my head, and I was trying to put that together.
Yeah, I couldn't find it in here.
If
but-
you take a look at, I don't know if you guys have the map, but I know on the north side of Fourth Street, it's about 5.565 acres. And I don't think I have a
Yeah, that's okay,
summary for the rest of it.
that's okay.
Well, actually, Andrew, does that mean all of them? Maybe that does. No, that doesn't mean all of them. That's just on the north side, just on the north side.
Okay.
We knew it at the time, but I haven't talked about it recently enough to know off the top of my head. But I know we felt we were getting a good deal at the time we agreed to that 400,000, especially since you consider right now that land is not being utilized at all.
All right,
No one is
Yeah.
paying any taxes on that land because the city owns it. And it has literally been decades since any taxes have been collected on that property, because even when it was privately owned, they weren't paying their taxes. So,
nice to see the project moving
amen.
forward. Yeah,
Amen.
Yeah,
And what's interesting and worth noting is, while Vision is waiting for all these contingencies to be met in order to move forward, the hotel is waiting for them to move forward
Figured.
to
Okay.
check their final contingency.
yeah.
So they all the pieces and parts now are coming together.
excited.
Yes, it is, very.
All right, if there's no further discussion, is there a motion to approve on the first reading?
Move to approve.
Second,
Thank you.
Woodward,
Aye.
Lawson,
Aye.
Workman,
Aye.
Miller.
aye.
I'll move to suspend the rules for 3 separate readings, 3 separate days.
Second.
Thank you.
Lawson,
Aye.
Workman,
Aye.
Miller,
Aye,
Woodward.
Aye.
Motion to approve the ordinance?
So moved.
Second.
Thank you.
Workman,
Aye.
Miller,
aye.
Woodward,
Aye.
Lawson.
Aye.
Ordinance 34-25.
Long time coming.
Yes, thank you.
Yes.
We have the CDBG
Oh, thank you.
hearing.
Yes. We do have a CDBG hearing at 7:10. It is 7:13 now, so we're okay to start that hearing. So with that, Mayor, I assume you're going to speak to this.
Absolutely.
So I'll just turn it over to you to open the hearing and
Very good.
conduct accordingly.
As most of you who followed city council business and county commissioner business know, every 2 years, our communities receive an allocation that we refer to as the Community Development Block Grant money. This money is actually provided through the Community Development Service Agency of Ohio, and every 2 years, we get an allocation. Our allocation has run in the neighborhood of $150,000. Now, over the years, we have used that for a variety of different projects, but before I get into what we can use that money for, let me say that it is a requirement of the program that we have 2 public hearings each time we are in the process of figuring out what projects we want to use or want to fund with these monies. The first public hearing is to basically announce that we are going to be receiving that allocation and to let folks know what projects, what types of projects are able to be funded with the money. The second hearing is then to discuss what projects the council is considering, or the city is considering. So tonight, basically what I want to do is outline what projects qualify for this money. Most of you know that this program, the projects must benefit low and moderate income families and individuals, low and moderate income individuals. The types of projects that you can fund with the monies are streets, sidewalks, water supply components, storm and sanitary sewer improvement projects, park acquisitions and improvements, the demolition of unsafe or blighted structures, public or nonprofit-based services that benefit low to moderate income individuals. As you know, in this city in recent years, we have used the money for water line replacement projects in low to moderate income neighborhoods. We've used it for the modernization of the elevator here. That might have been the world's longest project. Took us, I think, 3 years to get that finished, but we used these monies for that project. We also installed an ADA ramp out at the Myers Band Shell to help everyone be able to access the stage area out there when performing. and we did a street resurfacing project on 10th Street. Now, last year, or the last time we got this allocation, if you recall, we announced that they were no longer allowing us to use the money to pave streets. Well, this year, evidently enough people complained about that, they have reestablished the eligibility of streets resurfacing for these monies. So in other words, if we should decide that there is a street in a low to moderate income neighborhood, we could utilize this money to resurface that street, which we've done that very thing in the past. So those are the different types of projects we can use the money for. And if you have any questions, I'll do my best to answer them. I don't know a lot of the details about the
I
grant
think,
process.
I think the plan was to fund the new park, Lincoln Park.
Oh, that's a
with-
good idea.
With donor funds,
Yes.
but if we fall
Oh,
short,
that's a great
would that be
idea. I
acceptable?
had not even thought of that. That's an excellent idea.
Good.
Absolutely.
Anyone else?
No, that is a great one. Yes, it
Okay,
is.
good. So that will be determined at the next hearing.
Yes, yes,
Exactly, right?
yes.
Okay, very good.
So if you folks have ideas for potential projects, and of course, we always have the city engineer's office take a look at it, because as we know, the cost to repair water lines and sewer lines at times is extreme, and sometimes this can help offset that if we've got an issue in some of our low to moderate income neighborhoods. So
All right.
chances are there'll be a variety of projects to choose from.
It's a public hearing.
Yes, we can take questions if
If
someone has.
anyone has anything to offer on this community development block grant, you're more than welcome to step up to the podium and give us your thoughts on the matter. Seeing none, then, we can close the hearing
Yes,
until next time, which would be when, Terry?
we'll get you the date.
Oh, okay,
Yes,
all
yes.
right. And we'll go from there. So, and it'll be plenty of time to get, give public notice.
Absolutely.
All right, thank you, Mayor. Moving back to our agenda, then, we have ordinance D to conclude. This will be an ordinance authorizing a maintenance agreement between the county and the of Ashland and the city of Ashland and declaring an emergency.
Move for non-reading in full.
Second.
Thank you.
Woodward,
Aye.
Lawson.
Aye.
Workman.
Aye.
Miller.
Aye.
Well, in the recent weeks, there's been a lot of talk about an annexation petition. And the one that has been in the news lately is dealing with another parcel of land in Montgomery Township. So that is a totally separate issue than what this particular ordinance is about. This ordinance involves 67 and a half acres of land in Milton Township. And the gentleman who owns this land, which is out on what we often refer to as Bainey Road, has started the annexation process through the county commissioners. And he is actually, I believe, utilizing the traditional annexation method. Is that correct? I believe so. He's not seeking an expedited or a expedited two. So I believe he is going the traditional route, so he starts that with the county commissioners. There's a number of components that have to be approved by the city before we find out whether or not this land is in fact annexed. But one of the steps is determining who will maintain the road in that section adjacent to this 67 acres of land. So I will describe it, and I'm sorry we don't have a map for you to put up on the screen. But basically, if you can picture the intersection of Smith Road and Bainey Road. Can everyone picture that section?
Yep.
That's right there on the corporation limits. From Smith Road north to West Main Street. So that would be the next street up. Everyone can picture that? If you don't live in the city and you don't follow the names Smith and West Main Street, perhaps you'll know it by these numbers. This would be Bainey Road between Township Road 1426, Smith Road, or County Road 1356, West Main Street. That section of road would be adjacent to this 67 and a half acres located on the west side of Bainey Road. Now, if this annexation ultimately goes through, that section of road would be maintained by the city. That means we would plow the snow, we would fix the ditches, we would keep them clean, we would be responsible for everything we do when it comes to maintaining city streets. And this is one of the components that is necessary before the annexation can be finalized. And we're still a little ways before it can be finalized, but the city engineer and the county engineer have drafted this agreement, and both of our law director's office have approved it, so we didn't see any reason why we shouldn't bring it forward, and it checks one of the boxes. There's still other boxes to go, but this one would simply say, we agree to take care of the street if that land is annexed. Anyone that's watching that might be interested, why is the property owner seeking to annex that land? It is because he is interested in developing housing on that 67.5 acres. So,
All right. Any comments or questions from council?
and maybe just to rephrase it, so tonight, the question in essence before the council is, do you agree that the city will maintain that section of Bainey Road should this land be annexed into the city in the future?
All right. With that then, is there a motion to approve on the first reading?
I move we approve on the first reading.
I'll second.
Lawson,
Aye.
Workman.
Aye.
Miller,
Aye.
Woodward.
Aye.
Again, I'll move to suspend the rules for 3 separate readings, 3 separate days.
Second.
Thank you.
Workman,
Aye.
Miller,
Aye.
Woodward.
Aye.
Lawson.
Aye.
Motion to approve the ordinance?
So moved.
Second.
Thank you.
Miller,
Aye.
Woodward.
Aye.
Lawson.
Aye.
Workman.
Aye.
Ordinance 35-25.
Thank you.
So good to see things moving forward.
Yes.
Well, all of these last couple of years, when we've been talking about these potential housing developments and the need to add additional housing, these are the beginnings of all of those projects that we've been forecasting for these years. So the process is starting.
Very good.
Helps with the shortage of available sites.
Yes, yes. Today, we actually hosted Matt Dolan, former state senator, who is now the CEO of Team NEO. He and the Team NEO crew, which is an arm of the state's economic development organization, they spent the entire day here and visited several of our local employers that they have helped provide funding for their projects, their expansion projects, Harris Welding. They stopped at Chandler's today, and of course, they also played a role at the airport. And one of the big components in the discussion is the community that has housing is the community right now that's looking most appealing to potential businesses that want to expand, because they equate additional housing, whether that be apartments, whether that be single-family homes, to the ability to draw a workforce and have some place for them to live. So,
It's interesting how things shift in priority,
yes.
isn't it? Economically speaking, that is. So, well, with that then, we'll go to our, before I read the added ordinance. Let's see. It almost seems odd, Mayor, that we should pass that ahead of the annexation.
Yes.
It should almost be done simultaneously,
Yes.
but there's no harm in it.
I said the
Yeah.
same thing, and that's why I
That's what I
even
keep
pulled-
running through my mind.
I even
Yeah.
pulled Andrew aside beforehand and asked him, I said, is it unusual that we would pass that before? But it doesn't hurt, it doesn't cause
No,
any
no,
harm. It
no
just
harm,
makes it
no.
easier for, I guess, all
Right.
the decision makers along in the process to
That's-
know that,
Yeah,
that we're willing to take responsibility for the
And
Yeah,
street.
and
if they
that's-
move
that's
forward
done,
with the
yeah.
annexation, will there be a revenue tax sharing?
Potentially,
agreement
potentially,
and-
but we haven't even got that far on
Yeah.
that one. So,
So-
yes. And they're using a different process, so one's not actually required in that particular situation, but we would certainly want to be a good neighbor and work with
Sure.
Milton Township trustees. Yeah,
And the language of the ordinance states that it doesn't go into effect unless it's annexed. So I think
Okay.
we kind of addressed that.
sure. Okay, good. Thanks for that, Andrew.
He'll need to read the next and forward, yeah.
The ordinance E is an late added ordinance that'll be an ordinance authorizing, directing the Director of Finance to amend the appropriations for the calendar year 2025 and declare an emergency. So with that, I'm looking for my added ordinance. I think I have it here, but let me see. Yes, thank you.
No
Mayor.
problem.
And to begin reading, it says, whereas an ordinance authorizing the Director of Finance to amend the appropriations for the calendar year 2025, and whereas it is necessary to meet the immediate financial needs of the city of Ashland, Ohio for the calendar year 2025, to amend appropriations, now therefore be it ordained by the council of the city of Ashland, state of Ohio, its members, thereto concurring, Section 1, that the following attached additional appropriations of funds for the calendar year 2025 for the city of Ashland, Ohio, to offset operating costs be, and the same is hereby affirmed and directed to be made as attached. See the attached exhibit, which we have before us. Section 2 is to meet the city of Ashland, Ohio's immediate financial needs. This ordinance is declared to be an emergency measure immediately necessary for the preservation of the public peace, property, health, and welfare of the city of Ashland, Ohio. In Section 3, that this ordinance shall take effect and be in force from and after its passage by council and approval according to Section 12 of the Charter of the City of Ashland, Ohio. So ends the reading. So, Larry?
This is a unusual thing that we find ourselves in, unfortunately. When the state of Ohio paved State Route 96 from Cottage to the Corp line, the city, that was a ODOT-let project, which means they were completely in charge of the entire program. It does not mean the city didn't participate, because it did. It paid several $1,000s of its funding to assist the state in paving that, or repaving that roadway. Since it was a ODOT-led project, ODOT paid the contractor directly. And they used federal highway dollars as well as state matching dollars on that program to pay the contractor. But since the roadway is also a city street that we as all of our citizens use, the city has to claim a share of that entire project. Even though they used federal highway dollars to pay for that, we have to record that payment on our books. Now, in doing that, we recorded our payment that we made, but we also have to record a portion of the payment that ODOT made on our behalf to the contractor. So in doing that, this was a discussion that we had with our auditors this week, and we discovered they went to ODOT as well and did a review of the project. And we have to account for about $4.5 million currently, and they still have some invoices to pay. It's not cash, it's a entry into our accounting system to record that payment as a payment on behalf of the city of Ashland. So in doing that, it is what we call it as a Memo X. It's just a transaction, but unfortunately, we have to appropriate that money. It's grant money into the fund and then an expense out of the fund in order to complete that transaction. So it's not that we're asking to appropriate $4.5 million that we probably will not get for a little while, but this is more of a transaction to record that payment.
The paper trail.
That's it. It's grant money in, grant money out, and it only records it on our behalf
Sure.
of that project.
So in no way will it prevent us from making any other expenses that we had planned for 2025, will it?
No, no,
Okay, yes.
no, it's above what we already anticipated as expenses for this year. This is only grant revenue in and expense out. It's an in and out on our side.
And it's not even our money.
Well, it's federal highway dollar. It is kind of all of our
Yeah.
money, but
Right.
yeah.
Yes, we do.
All right. Thank you for that explanation, Larry. Any questions? All right. With that then, is there a motion to approve on the first reading?
So moved.
Second.
Thank you.
Workman,
Aye.
Miller,
Aye.
Woodward,
Aye.
Lawson.
Aye.
I'll move again to suspend the rules for 3 separate readings, 3 separate days.
Second.
Thank you.
Miller,
Aye.
Woodward,
Aye.
Lawson.
Aye.
Workman.
Aye. Motion to approve the ordinance?
So moved.
Second.
Thank you.
Woodward,
Aye.
Lawson.
Aye.
Workman.
Aye.
Miller.
Aye.
Ordinance 36-25.
Then we have a resolution approving revisions to the Title VI Plan for Ashland Public Transit and declaring an emergency.
Move for non-reading in full.
Second.
Thank you.
Lawson.
Aye.
Workman.
Aye.
Miller,
Aye.
Woodward.
Aye.
Every 3 years, we are required to adopt a Title VI plan that basically says, as we operate our public transit system, we will not discriminate on the basis of race, color, or national origin. And we do this every 3 years. This particular time, though, there is a change. If you had a chance to review it, if you take a look toward the very back of it, there's a new section. It's the Title VI Equity Analysis for Facility Acquisition. The reason why we are required to add this section is because it is likely that we will receive our grant money that we've been waiting on from the federal government to assist with the construction of our new public transit headquarters. We're hoping to get final notice of the award and perhaps even a contract to sign for that money in the month of May. So we are getting closer. And for those that may be just joining the program, the city of Ashland applied for federal dollars to help us construct a new public transit headquarters at the corner of Union and Third Street. It is expected to be somewhere in the neighborhood of 14 to 15,000 square feet in size, and the estimated cost is around $2 million. 1.9 million is probably what we're looking at when it comes to the actual grant. We're hoping that moves forward here very soon, but in preparation for that, we have to now include a section that basically says, as we go about acquiring this facility, in our case, building it, when we go through the bid process and every step of the way, we will not discriminate based on race, color, or national origin throughout the process. So we would ask that you adopt this resolution this evening.
Questions, concerns? Hearing none, I'll ask for a motion to approve on the first reading.
So moved.
Thank you. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you.
Workman.
Aye.
Miller,
Aye.
Woodward,
Aye.
Lawson.
Aye.
I'll move to suspend the rules for 3 separate readings, 3 separate days.
Second.
Thank you.
Miller,
Aye.
Woodward,
Aye.
Lawson.
Aye.
Workman.
Aye. Motion to approve the resolution?
So moved.
Second.
Thank you.
Woodward,
Aye.
Lawson.
Aye.
Workman.
Aye.
Miller.
Aye.
Resolution 4-25.
And finally, we have a resolution authorizing participation in the ODOT road salt contracts awarded in 2025.
Move for non-reading in full.
Second.
Thank you.
Workman.
Aye.
Miller,
Aye.
Woodward,
Aye.
Lawson.
Aye.
It's kind of hard to believe that we're already at the point that we need to pass this resolution again. It seems like it comes so quickly, but this is just what his intro said. This is the resolution that each year we pass to say that our city wants to participate in the purchase of salt program, road salt program, with the Ohio Department of Transportation. The thought is by buying it bulk with the Ohio Department of Transportation, we'll get a better rate per ton. And we do not know exactly how many tons we will purchase yet for 2025, but this gets us eligible to participate in the program. So we respectfully ask that you will adopt this resolution.
All right. Questions, concerns?
We probably used a lot more this year than.
Do you know we
have in-
did? We actually had to buy extra
Yes.
here at the very last minute. I think last month, right? Last month? That's right. That was March, right?
There for a while,
Yes.
we were pretty well stocked.
Yes,
And-
absolutely.
yeah.
Now, I will say, we did have to buy extra at the end of the year, but you have to know that we also, though, throughout the winter, provided some salt for university hospitals, and we provided some salt for Ashland University when they were running low. They buy it at the price we pay, so we're not making a profit on it, but nonetheless, by helping everyone else out, we found that we needed a little extra at the end as well.
Sure.
And it
That's
might
just-
be worth noting, in the past, we've also helped out the county. So,
That's just called being a good neighbor.
yes, absolutely.
Yep.
All right. If there's no further discussion, I'll ask for a motion to approve on the first reading.
Move to approve.
Second.
Thank you.
Miller,
Aye.
Woodward,
Aye.
Lawson,
Aye.
Workman,
Aye. And again, I'll move to suspend the rules for 3 separate readings, 3 separate days.
Second.
Thank you.
Woodward,
Aye.
Lawson,
Aye.
Workman,
Aye.
Miller.
Aye.
Motion to approve the ordinance, or the resolution, I should
So
say.
So move.
Thank you.
Second.
Thank you.
Lawson,
Aye.
Workman,
Aye.
Miller,
Aye.
Woodward.
Aye.
Resolution 5-25.
Okay. We have no old business this evening unless council has something to bring forward, but we do have some new business. And that is an advertising permit for Omnifiber. Michelle Gates has submitted this request to be able to distribute a flyer for their new fiber internet service. And we just need a motion to approve their permit if the council has no objection.
Michelle is not here tonight, but she did talk with Melissa in the office, and Melissa went through all the standard questions about what she could do and how it needed to be done, and she has agreed to it. And as you see before you, they have included a draft of what their flyer will look like when they go door to door, asking people to consider them for their internet service.
Are they asking for this for the whole city?
Yes.
Because I think the last one was just a certain section, because they hadn't penetrated the whole city
Yes.
yet.
Yes. She didn't specify that it was for a particular part of the city, so you'd be granting it for the whole city, but I have a feeling it would only be where their infrastructure's in place.
Any other discussion?
Well, and you know what? Look at the wording that she put up here. Advertise new fiber internet to serviceable homes. So it probably is only those same
Got that
homes
covered,
that have.
Yeah, and quarterly. So. Very good. So if there's no further discussion, is there a motion to, well, we already approved it, didn't we? No? Motion to approve, if council has no objection.
So moved for the approval.
Second.
Okay, thank you.
Lawson,
Aye.
Workman,
Aye.
Miller,
Aye.
Woodward.
Aye.
All right. Finance Director's report.
Tax day is come and gone. Now we have to open up all those boxes of returns that have been mailed to us, and I believe the season went fairly decent. Wasn't the best day to stand out today and wait, but a lot of our citizens filed their taxes either online using the new service or came in yesterday when it was a little milder weather. So that has been accomplished. We are working with this ordinance that you passed this evening. Thank you. We're working with our auditors to get the report prepared so it can be filed with the state of Ohio. And As soon as we get that done, why, we'll be talking about a tax budget for 2026, so that will be coming, so. That's all my report. I'll be more than happy to answer any questions you may have.
I did my taxes this morning online. Worked like a charm. Had no
Yes,
issues whatsoever there.
thank you.
The upload, no problem. And I was surprised that the upload of the W-2s didn't populate the fields for that you needed to add up the income.
Yeah,
And,
that's
but-
something they're working on, I
Yeah.
believe, but
Sure.
it doesn't do that yet.
yeah, but it was no problem. Yeah, works well. Yeah, it's quite a disclaimer you have right in the beginning, not responsible, but,
Unfortunately, you have to have those.
oh, really?
things, Yeah,
I see.
Yeah.
Yeah, but the information is secure.
it's encrypted 3 times. so
All right,
it's-
that's what I wanted to hear.
Yeah,
After reading that, I thought to myself, now, should I continue or not? I'm not sure.
yes.
But given the late date, I thought I better.
Well, you could have joined your friends in
In
the
line.
line, too.
Are you getting a big refund?
No,
No.
no, he owes me 6 cents, I think.
Flag his for an
Yeah.
audit.
I think that was used earlier, the checks in the mail.
Checks in the mail,
someplace.
yeah. Well, thank you. Council comments, Mr. Miller?
It's not encrypted 4 times, only 3.
Compromising our safety.
It's lawn mowing season, so just a reminder to keep the grass clippings off the road. It's dangerous for vehicles, but particularly for motorcyclists and even bicyclists, so make sure you keep the clippings off the road and watch your speed. I had to throw that in.
Angel?
Well, unlike Mr. Workman, I went to the tax office a few weeks ago, not today, to do my taxes, and they are always just so kind. They are very pleasant, even though I see the mounds of paperwork behind their desk, and, they're stressed trying to get all those tax returns. I also want to give a reminder that it's our last week of spring cleanup, right? We're working on our last week. If you have any kind of furniture, especially mattresses, I've seen a couple out not wrapped. They won't take it, right? They'll just leave it? Is that how that's working?
Yep, you're right.
Yeah, so make sure you wrap it in plastic wrap.
Mr. Loss?
Well, along those lines, I think, from what I've been able to observe, this is one of the best and easiest and quickest spring cleanup
Yes.
that I've seen. So kudos to the city employees for getting out there and picking those things up, and I appreciate them for doing that.
Sure.
So, that's all I have.
I did get one question about, is there any way we can stop having people go through the trash, basically, the big cleanup stuff? And I don't know that we want to do that.
That's exactly my feeling.
Yeah, I don't think we do. Yeah.
That's exactly
Yes.
right.
It doesn't go in the landfill if they're picking it up.
Correct,
Right.
correct.
And one man's trash is another man's
More,
treasure.
more responsible for us to
Yeah.
allow people to take it, in my opinion.
Sorry to that person that had to maybe go straighten things up afterwards. I know that can be frustrating. But at the same time, like you said, it's not in the landfill
Yes,
if they're picking it up. so.
yes.
And while we are one of the few communities that even offer the service, we offer the service and don't even add an additional surcharge. So it's in essence still a free service. But that does not mean that it is free for the city of Ashland's budget, because we have to pay to dispose of all of the tonnage of
Yeah.
refuse and items that we collect off people's curbs. And Mrs. Woodward is right. Everything that is taken from those curbs and repurposed or recycled or resold, it just saves us money and quite honestly is good for the environment. And the truth is, most of the individuals that are collecting those items from our curb are turning them into extra income. In many instances, to help meet their basic expenses.
Sure.
And so if we can offer that as a way for folks to improve their own economic situation,
Absolutely.
then by all means, we need to
Yep.
continue to do it.
Absolutely.
Glad you feel that way. I mean,
Yes.
really. The other thing I got a inquiry on was the idea that our city is not as peaceful as it once was.
Oh, yes, yes.
And I personally can relate. There are times when I think they've put up a motorcycle track around my house, and, after about 20 minutes, it goes silent. But I think, boy, if I can hear it that loud, I'm sure there are some others that,
Well, as you know, at a
hear.
recent meeting, what
Yeah.
meeting were we having in here? Our council meeting, I think,
Yes.
the last month.
oh, yes.
Remember, it was
Yeah.
a nice evening, and we just heard bike after bike after
Yeah,
bike go by, and it's in every neighborhood.
Yeah, that's what I told him. It's a citywide issue.
Yes,
It's not just our neighborhood, so, yeah. But, hopefully as time goes and the weather turns warm and we're out and about, it'll become less obvious, maybe, I don't know. But I could relate a little bit to that individual. So, with that, Mayor, I'll turn it over to you for your comments.
I don't have anything specific other than Make Ashland Sparkle, the annual activity that is headed up by our Ashland Rotary Club, takes place on April 26th, Saturday morning at 8:30 a.m. That's when you can stop by and register and get a T-shirt. You'll get your assignment and all the tools you need to go complete that assignment, whether it's you as an individual, your family, or your organization or business. And then you will be helping contribute to get our city ready for the spring season and the summer season. They usually have several hundred people participate, but they would love to have more this year. And I see they're really promoting it online on social media, so I think they're trying to get their numbers up so they can accomplish a lot that day.
Be prepared to work.
Yes, yes.
You will work if you show up, yeah. And that's April 26th at 8:30?
Correct.
Okay, at the
Correct.
corner park.
Yes, at the corner park, and then basically you work, as you say, for 3 hours, you volunteer.
Yeah.
You volunteer for 3 hours, and then you can reconvene and they will provide you with lunch. So if you sign up, it's at no expense, you get a great T-shirt and you get lunch. Plus you get the satisfaction of knowing that you've helped make our city sparkle. That's right.
That's right.
So, in addition to that, I would just simply say the days are just being consumed with economic development and housing development, to be quite candid with you. And it seems to be all day. And it is everything from working to with prospects that are interested in land in the industrial park and trying to figure out where and how best to accommodate them, to matters like we had on the agenda tonight, figuring out what annexation could look like for some of these housing developments, and working through the final details of these purchase agreements on some of the projects that we've spoken for so long about, like the pump house project and the hotel and so on. So lots of good things going on, but there are certainly lots of I's to dot and T's to
Yeah.
cross to get everything to the finish line.
It's the proverbial 101 details.
Absolutely. And then you have to go back and revise them, seems like every time. So with all that being said, I would ask that the council consider going into executive session for possible litigation this evening. Shouldn't take long, but
Okay. So next item on the list is comments and questions from our audience. If anyone has anything they'd like to address council with, you're more than welcome to step up to the podium and let us have it. Good evening, sir.
Thomas Owens, Ward 1. I wouldn't have come up today, but you mentioned the road noise, and I'll second that as a citizen. Now, I think a lot of the muffler, the muffler noise issues, the
cars,
improper, isn't it's gotten a bit better. There are a few commercial vehicles. Commercial tractor trailers that go down Center Street. That's a residential street that there's got to be some issue with their exhaust. There's no way even a large vehicle going up that incline, notwithstanding, there has to be an issue with their exhaust. Honestly, I think if law enforcement were to track that, and if they had the time, I think it could probably be resolved by sending a letter or some sort of correspondence to the commercial entity, just to say, hey, you probably get this fixed. And also, while this is a salient issue being brought up by our council member at large, that we should maybe consider putting a cap on that by exploring maybe local noise ordinance on the local level here. So
Very good, thank you.
there's nothing, no big deal really, but yeah, just something to think about since, you know, your representatives are talking about it.
Right.
I mean, it's the people that they represent probably feel the same way. I know I do, so.
Very good. Thank you.
It does seem as though those automobiles that had the exhaust systems that were so loud, don't get me wrong, they still exist, but I don't seem to hear those as much now as the motorcycles.
Yeah, something, either it's just not
Yes, maybe they've all switched to their bikes.
Or, yeah,
That's right.
or
The
moved
weather's
away.
better.
I don't,
That's right.
I don't know, like you, I don't.
No, you don't like we used to.
One or two tractor trailers during the afternoon. During the afternoon, I normally wouldn't care because I'm not trying to sleep, but there's one or two that's so
Yes.
loud that I think, I dare say it could damage here. Is that,
Yeah.
yeah,
it's just unbelievable. Yeah, but I think there has always been motorcycles. Honestly, even the Harley, you know, when you got someone with an improper muffler, even louder than any of those Harleys. So it's good that whether it was law enforcement or just attrition.
yeah, that's what I said.
Or it's
They
just
moved
not
away.
a cool thing anymore. Which,
Yes.
as far as I'm concerned, was never cool to
Yes.
begin with.
Yes.
Right.
It's just gotten better with use.
You know, it is interesting as I sit here listening to both of your comments, I'm reminded of the fact that over the last several years, I have often received phone calls from property owners on Bainey Road complaining about the speeders and the motorcycles that are loud. And with the action that we've taken tonight, if that annexation eventually goes through months from now, and we do take responsibility for that road, that will give our police another opportunity to patrol. Because prior to this, it's always been outside of the city, so it rested in the arms of the sheriff's office. But this would change that ballgame.
So that begs the question in the informal sense, that you're trying to court developers coming in and people, they're not gonna wanna hear that.
Unless they come in on their bike.
That's not gonna be a big
That's right.
selling point.
Yes.
For, developers. It may not go against it, and won't certainly argue for it. So
Yes.
maybe you might consider codifying something.
Yeah. All right. Well, if there are no other comments or questions from our audience, we'll move to adjournment in executive session for the purpose of discussing possible litigation.
So moved.
Second.
Thank you.
Lawson.
Aye.
Workman.
Aye.
Miller.
Aye.
Woodward.
Aye.
No action will be taken. We appreciate you all coming. Thank you.